What was the event that led you to go into prison?
I'd actually quit the importation of ecstasy a year before the SWAT team came. I've been married 3 times. I've met another woman. She talked me out of it. And because things were getting so heavy as well, she was like, look, this is really risky now. It's dangerous. The new Mexican Mafia guys, they'd all got federal SWAT team raided. I was almost at that house as the feds came. I was just dropping one of the guys off, actually. Would have got caught up in that. Sammy the Bull's crew got taken down. In the beginning, I'm thinking, thanks, cops, you took out the competition. I should have been thinking it's going to be me next, but the drug scrambles your decision-making processes. It's telling you can get away with anything. This woman talked some sense into me, and it was almost a year later, I thought I got away with it. I never got caught doing a big drug transaction, never got caught speaking about a big drug transaction on the phone, never even got caught with any drugs. But statute of limitations in Arizona is 7 years, so I had to accept my karma cheerfully. 10 witness statements came forward, and SWAT team came May 16, 2002.
How was that?
So I was back to stock trading online. I was enrolled in college.
Oh, you were back?
Yeah, I was trying to live a normal life with this woman now.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm stock trading online. I'm enrolled in Spanish classes at college. I'm up early in the morning because Arizona time, New York time, stock market's open. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, boots thudding up the stairs of the apartment. And then bang, 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 bang. So I jump up, look through the peephole, it's blacked out. I'm thinking, is it someone coming to rob me, posing as the police, who's found out, or is it really the police? Go to the window, police cars all over the place, marksmen with rifles, more boots coming up the stairs. Go through to the bedroom to my missus. What are we gonna do? Better let them in. Halfway through the living room, I'll never forget it, just boom! Wow. Just the door just flies off the hinges. Hands above your head, don't move, get on the ground now. So you see all those guns open up in front of you. Your heart my heart's speeding up. I just feel the sweat coming on my heart, just almost reliving it right now. You see those guns and you're thinking, your life is opening seconds if they open up right now. And they're looking at you like they want to put one in you. So you just drop down real fast and they crush you. And the detective then, after they crushed us, the detective just yanked me up by the cuffs. And he was like, English Shaun, you're a big name from the rave scene. We've finally got you. I'm sure this raid is going to get you big charges. And he's just talking hella shit at me. Yeah, because I had a nemesis in law enforcement. Yeah.
So what happens next?
So I'm thinking, hey, you know, I don't understand the statute of limitations at this point. I do understand some things that the new Mexican Mafia schooled me on. And I got the lawyer that they recommended. So I'm thinking there's no drugs. They've not caught me speaking about drugs because I banned, you know, I wouldn't talk on phones or anything over the years. What can they do? I'm naively thinking they're gonna say, well, there was no drugs, there's no charges, we're gonna let him go. But they slapped on me. You're familiar with the Tekashi 6ix9ine situation right now? It was the Arizona state equivalent of RICO. So now I've got conspiracy, continuous criminal enterprise, crime syndicate, all these charges, and I'm not versed enough in law to understand what they mean. It became apparent, and I had to, because all my money was seized. I'd flown people over from England, put money in their names, and the police had put a virus in my computer, NetBus Trojan Horse, to show me where all the money was. So they took absolutely everything.
You or the people you've flown from UK, they took that money.
They took the
as
money
well.
that was in their names, everything.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a multi-agency investigation. They had software engineers from Washington doing all this stuff with wiretapping my computer. I had to call my parents and say, look, I need money for a lawyer. And that was, you know, I'd structured it so if I got arrested, my friends would bail me out. They had money. Cops outsmarted me. They arrested all of us together.
So you have nobody to call but your parents. How was that phone call like? Calling mommy and dad?
It was one of the lowest points of my life. Just to hear the heartbreak in their voices, to feel how sick they're feeling that their son, who was a child protege, stock market guy, they'd come over and visited my $1 million house, and I told them I was doing all stock trading. To have to be like, look, here's what's gone down, and you know, if I don't get money, basically, I'm probably never going to get out, because it got to the point where I was facing a 200-year maximum sentence.
You got 200-year maximum sentence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And similar to you're saying with Tekashi, because he got 50. They're talking 50. You got 200.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on YouTube right now talking about Tekashi, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Even the hip hop channels, they're saying his trial's going to be next year in September. He's going to get at least a minimum of 30 years because that's his minimum. The justice system is completely Alice in Wonderland. Those figures mean nothing. What will happen is the prosecutor over time will plea bargain with these guys. It won't even go to trial. That trial date, if it, is probably going to get moved multiple times. They'll be in court every month, filing motions, each side going back and forth, and you don't have to snitch. In my case, what we did, I met an old timer who was doing life, and he said, look, get a good lawyer and do what's called a united front. So in my case, I had over 100 people arrested with me. Only 4 agreed to cooperate. We had a united front under Alan Simpson, who was the lawyer that the New Mexican Mafia had represented. And Sammy the Bull's case, 57 people were arrested approximately, all agreed to testify. Yeah. So I think because we had this united front, hardly anybody snitched. It really frustrated the prosecutor. Over the 26 months, they pulled out every dirty trick in the book on me. I was at the point where I was about to kill myself in the jail. It got so rough. But at the end of the day, I was the head of the crime syndicate. Wild Woman was number 2. Wild Man's woman out of Liverpool. Wild Man was number 3. And none of us got more than 10 years. So I thought that was, at the end of the day, that was really good. Because of the loophole my lawyer got as a first-time non-violent drug offender, non-US citizen, I ended up serving just under 6 years.
Just so what you're saying is you think similar things going to happen with Tekashi 69?
Yeah, what will happen with Tekashi 69 right now? The prosecutor will have organized the criminal organization, the crime syndicate, in level of importance. So maybe Tekashi will be B under Shotty, maybe Shotty will be A, or maybe it will be the other way around just because they want to get Tekashi because he's the big headline that will enhance their careers. So they will then say to everybody, like F and K and L, they'll say to F and K and L, look, you guys are small down here, you're facing life sentences, you're all co-conspirators, you all go down for each other's crimes, you guys testify against these guys and we'll let you do time served. That's generally what they'll say, and that's what they were saying in my case. Now, they've separated Tekashi 69. There's all this speculation saying he's snitched already, he's gone to prison for snitches. None of that is verified. I think it's far too early, probably, for any of these guys to just roll over to the prosecutor. Shotty's obviously worried about it because in court he's yelling out, don't fold, don't bend, in front of the judge, which is a really bad idea. That's not a good strategy. I had a situation like that happen in my own case. Now, if you're forming a united front, how are you going to get word through the prison system to your co-defendants not to snitch? Well, they've separated Tekashi, so it looks like he's snitching. So psychologically, that will work bad against the other co-defendants. But you can get what's called kites. These are letters sent by trustees throughout the jail system. We will send a letter from Tekashi in this prison over to that prison. There's religious services. My guys, we had the whole 2 back rows of the religious services. We would all give each other our hugs, and I'd update them on all the legal news. The other thing is, if Tekashi's in a separate prison, when he goes to court with his co-defendants, they're going to be in a row of holding cells right outside of the courtroom. Kites can be passed from cell to cell through trustees. They can stay tight. They can get the word out that they're doing a united front. Tekashi's got the money to get such a high-priced lawyer to fight back. These low-level guys are thinking, right, we've got no money. We've got scumbag public defenders who just want us to sign plea bargains. These guys have got the money to get the high-priced lawyers. They're just going to let us end up getting, we're going to have no legal representation. But Tekashi right now needs to get the word out. We're doing a united front. I'm paying for a high-priced lawyer. I'm not snitching, and hope that everybody stays tight. Because once people start to snitch, then the sentence will go up for the people who are highest in the organization.
So what happens? Walk us through. You're going to prison. How was that like? I mean, who were you? What prison did you go to? What level? Can I give us a little bit of that story?
All right. So because I hadn't cooperated with the prosecutor, they pulled out every dirty trick in the book. So in my first year in the jail, I've got this united front telling everyone not to agree. So the prosecutor's like, how can we get him away from his co-defendants? Let's get him over to maximum security, because all my co-defendants were in minimum medium security. Now, how she did that, she knew I was applying to get my bail reduced. My bail was $750,000 cash only. She sabotaged the bail hearing. Very crafty, these prosecutors. She filed additional charges and with an additional $750,000 bail. So the judge did he not only reduce my bail, he maintained my original bail, accepted the new bail, which made my total bail $1.5 million. When your bail goes over $1 million, you're automatically reclassified to maximum security.
So that's the guideline.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up my second year in maximum security. Now, by the end of that, that's where they're telling me, like you're going to get 200 years because every time you spoke about drugs on the phone carries 5 to 10 years. And this isn't deals, this is just personal, small stuff. If we go to trial and lose, we could stack that up to a maximum 200-year sentence. And they made it clear. There was a guy before me, out of Tucson, a dealer. He had a similar case. He refused to sign a plea bargain for 15 years, and he went to trial and they gave him 200.
200 years?
200. Every charge carried 10 years maximum, and they stacked all of his charges. They didn't run them concurrently, they run them consecutively. The justice system is a business model. If you go to trial, it costs the state hundreds of thousands, millions. They want everyone to sign a plea bargain and go over to the prison system, just to bow down. 98% of the cases go to plea bargain, that's it, in Arizona.
98.
Only 2% exercise their right to a trial. If everybody exercised the right to a trial, the system would collapse. It couldn't afford to do all the trials.
Got it.
So that's how I ended up in the highest security levels, because the prosecutor just had it in for us, because we wouldn't cooperate like Sammy the Bull's people.
And so that kind of didn't favor you because they were hoping you would.
They were hoping that we would. They thought we would because Sammy the Bull's people all did. They couldn't understand why we were so tight. But what happened was, over the years, I'd known these guys for years. I'd grown up with some of them. People were scared of Wildman and the new Mexican Mafia guys with us. We were just all this, in the jail, we were one of the biggest groups in the jail. Everywhere we went, we were all hugging each other and updating each other and everything. Even people that didn't know me, the prosecutor was getting them to sign Exhibit A, people in my case that I didn't know, saying, you bought your drugs from Attwood, you were working for Attwood. Because the prosecutor just makes stuff up. They don't care. They've got nothing to lose. They've got absolute immunity. So whatever they say, they portray people and doing things. A lot of time, that legal paperwork, it's utter bullshit because they just want to put you in the worst light. They made me out to be the Antichrist. So they got all these people who don't even know me signing Exhibit A. One guy, Chicano gang member, he was in court with Exhibit A and he says to the judge, look, Your Honor, I have no idea who Attwood is, and the prosecutor was telling me to sign this. Like, get back to the cells. Yeah.
So you're in prison. You've never been in prison before. I'm assuming this is your first time.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking? Like, who do I team up with?
Oh my goodness.
Who do I go to? Who do I associate myself with?
I've seen Shawshank Redemption. So you go in there, and it's all racially divided, and it's the whites, the blacks, the Mexican Americans. So right away, some skinheads from the neo-Nazi Aryan Brotherhood come up to me. Hey, we want a word with you. Get in that cell over there. Because I've been put in Tower 6. I wasn't with my co-defendants at this point in time. So I go into the cell, close the door behind me. Biggest one gets in my face. He's like, what are your charges? What are your charges? Now, I mentioned my charges to you. I said earlier I didn't understand what all that meant, conspiracy and everything. So I said to him, I don't understand what my charges mean. That is not a good answer. Now they think I've got something to hide. So they got me up against the wall about to smash me. What do you mean you don't know what your charges mean? Are you a chomo? Are you a chomo? I don't even know what a chomo is at this point. Chomo's child molester. Yeah. So I pulled out my charge sheet. They saw I was in for drugs. The main business of the gang is selling drugs to the prisoners. So they loved that. They saw my bail was $750,000. They were like, damn, are you guys the mafia? Who did you guys kill? And I was like, no, just raves, ecstasy. Then they explained the rules you got to follow. If someone calls you a punk, a bitch, or hits you, fight them on the spot, else whole gang will smash you. Must take showers, they'll smash you for bad hygiene. Can't go making friends with the guards, they'll smash you for snitching. Can't sit at the tables with the other races, they'll smash you for that, and so on and so on. Yeah.
So it's giving you the lowdown.
Giving you the lowdown right away. You sit in the wrong place, it's all over.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? It's all over if you sit in the wrong place?
If you sit with the other races, or if you go to the whites table and sit on like the head dude's seat, because you just think you're getting your lunch and that's just how it works, you're going to get your head smashed into a toilet. Yeah, just like that. I had to get used to the sounds of heads getting bashed against toilets in there. Bodies getting thrown around.
So who did you go with at that point?
Well, you've got no choice. They'll tell you, this is how it works. You're white. You know, if we have a meeting, you come to the white boy meeting, you sit with the whites, you in your cell, you're supposed to have white cellmates.
Now, white supremacists or not white supremacists? This is just white.
This is the Aryan Brotherhood prison gang.
Got it.
They've got the swastikas, they've got the lightning bolts, they've got the warbirds. Yeah, they completely control the prison system for the white race.
Were you required to get any of the tattoos and to symbolize that you're representing
There's
them?
only few actual equivalent to made men, gang members, shot callers, and probates. And to join the Aryan Brotherhood, for example, the probates got to collect a debt, beat someone up, get your SS lightning bolts, get your Swazi. To be a full member, you got to murder someone in the jail for them.
Oh, you had to murder someone to get a full...
yeah, blood in, blood out.
So when you were in how many different types of prisons?
Wow, over the course of this whole thing, I was in 2 remand jails, and then in the Arizona Department, that was my first 26 months, and then over the Arizona Department of Corrections, about 4 or 5 different prisons, and then finally a deportation facility. Now, I actually did time in super maximum security where I wasn't supposed to be. And that was because the prosecutor, a final farewell just to mess with me, after I was sentenced, she accidentally put my 9.5-year sentence down as 34 years on the paperwork to the prison system.
Your 9.5 to accidentally she put it down as 34.
Yeah, just to mess with me. So I got fast-tracked to Supermax.
How was that?
Well, looking back now, I'm glad that she did all this stuff because it's created a more extreme story. So, Supermax, my cellmate he had like a pentagram tattooed on his forehead, part of a cult that's drinking blood and doing human sacrifice. Yeah.
This is who you were in with?
This is in Super Maximum Security. Super Maximum Security is killers, serial killers, death row, shit slingers. There's a whole row of shit slingers. Because you can't settle your disputes in Supermax with fists because you're locked in your cell, they weaponize crap. So the basic method of that is a chicken bone, blowpipe, crap on the chicken bone. You're going past the cell, they dart you, chicken bone gets into your blood system, your blood circulates the crap throughout, your damages your immune system, and 2/3 of these guys have got hepatitis C just from sharing dirty needles. That's the basic method. The Rambo of the shit slingers was this guy called Magnum, and he would let the shit piss concoction, he would leave it for days until mold grew on it, and he rigged his cell up with like crap Uzis. He'd make shampoo bottles into bazookas with tubes on them, and then when a guard goes past, or the staff try to get a guard or a prisoner, he just opened fire on them. And they came in, they stripped him out, took everything out of his cell, put him in a dry cell, naked, handcuffed, and they figured that was it. He wasn't going to be able to get them that day. They'd underestimated his resolve. Magnum stood at the front of that cell with molten crap in his mouth. And when the guard came and Magnum unleashed the molten crap, the guard was so surprised and shocked, he raised his mask up and some of the crap went up his nose. Yeah.
So you've seen some interesting things at the Super Maximum. How long was it? How long were you at the Super Maximum?
I was in the Super Maximum about 3 or 4 months before my sentence got fixed by my lawyer to what it should have been in the first place.
So Shaun, how many different levels are there in prison system in the US?
I've been in every security level from Supermax to minimum.
How many are the levels from the minimum to Supermax?
It depends on whether it's federal or state and how many prisons the system has got. So there might be like, and the UK is different from the US, but in general, this is a generalization, you could say there's minimum, medium, maximum, super maximum, but there's all kinds of other types of facilities as well, such as lockdowns and things like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when you're in prison, I mean, I'm hearing there's access to everything. You can buy drugs, you can buy steroids, you have phones you can buy. What was the biggest commodity? What was the most expensive? Drugs.
And that was what causes the most violence and death and murder. The illegal market in drugs, they estimate it's worth $1 trillion a year right now. That has corrupted everything it comes into contact with, including the prison system. Mm-hmm. When you go start arresting people who are mostly got addiction issues, a lot of my friends in prison were Marines, come back from wars, PTSD, got on street drugs, ended up in prison. The highest arrest category back then when I was arrested was weed possession.
Wow.
1 million arrests a year almost for weed possession.
1 million a year.
And they come to prison and graduate to heroin and crystal meth. So the absolute priority of the drug gang is this, you've got this ideal target marketplace of addicts. So guards are smuggling drugs in for the gangs. Nurse was arrested bringing drugs in for the Mexican Mafia while I was there. Drugs are getting dropped off in drones these days. Visitors are bringing drugs to visitation in the lower security levels. There is more drugs in prison than anywhere on the face of the earth. The dealers in prison are boasting that they're making more money inside than they were selling drugs before they were arrested.
Where do they keep the money? Where do they keep the cash?
It's a street to street.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so say you're my dealer in prison,
Yes.
and I'm a customer.
Yep.
Your woman outside goes and pays my woman outside a visit, and cash is exchanged.
I got it.
Yeah.
And it's still taking place.
Street to street.
And so hoping when I come out, I have some cash sitting around that's waiting for me.
If you're an entrepreneur.
If you're an entrepreneur. Yeah, that makes sense.